Thank you for inviting us here today, John. It's a pleasure to be here. PGX Resources is a junior mineral exploration company that started in 2011, just at the downturn, John, but that was advantageous for us because it's in those downturns that you can build a good asset base. Our trading symbol is PJX on the TSXV. This is a standard disclaimer. This is a map of southeastern British Columbia. You can see we're located right in the southeast corner of British Columbia. You can see this Sullivan Mine, town of Kimberley, and the town of Cranbrook. We've been building this asset base. All these properties you're seeing here are owned 100% by PGX Resources. Now, why are we focused on this camp? This is a mining camp that's gone somewhat dormant. When you look at the life cycle of a deposit, your best chance to find a deposit or your best chance of your greatest return on investment often occurs at the discovery stage or at the production stage. The best chance of finding a discovery is often around other deposits, so in existing mining camps. The chance of putting one of them into production is in an existing mining camp when you have the infrastructure. So what we've done is gone in and over the last 8 years consolidated these properties: Dewdney Trail, Zinger, Parker Copper, Eddy, Vine, West Basin, and DD. The great thing about these types of mining camps also is the fact that you get a lot of historical data for free because it's been exploration. The Sullivan Mine operated for 90 years before being closed in 2001. We've taken all that data, and it's worth over $20 million, we estimate, in today's value. And we've compiled it, identified data gaps, and infilled those data gaps with new technologies, new mapping, new geophysics, and identified these targets. The yellow are all gold. The red are either copper, zinc, or lead, or a combination of all three. Now, excuse me. So one of the things we're doing now is systematically testing those targets. The chances of finding a discovery are always slim, but the more targets you have, the better the chance you have. The other advantage of focusing in this historical mining camp and not having properties everywhere is that what we learn about one property, or one target in this case, actually helps us out with the other targets. So for example, we did this DD property, which is the one, oops, keep pressing the wrong button here, the one right down here in the bottom. And we did that deal in 2015. The week after we announced that property, Teck staked all the ground around us. And at that point, they then approached us, and we've since reached an agreement. They've optioned that property, and they're exploring that. And in March this year, we're going to find out what their program will be for this year. So why? Why do we think this camp has so much untapped potential? You can see the Sullivan Mine, operated for over 90 years, produced 8 million tons of zinc, 9 million tons of lead, 256 million ounces of silver. In today's metal prices, that's $40 billion worth of value. It also produced cadmium, gallium, indium, germanium, gold, copper. But what you're also looking at, the Sullivan was discovered in 1890. In 1864, gold was discovered in Wild Horse Creek. Started a gold rush, one of the earliest gold rushes in BC. Nobody really hears about it, but they estimate over 1.8 million ounces were taken out of there. Perry Creek, Moye Creek, what you're looking at in the yellow zones are placer mining claims that are active today, okay? Now, you can see those two big black lines that bound it. That's the outline of the big structural zone that goes through this area. Notice how all the placer mining claims and the creeks with the gold sit within that structural zone. That's because that's where the ground is opened up. That's where the fluids have come in and made those gold deposits. There are no real placer claims. There are no placer claims outside that structural zone. So that's why we focused on that structural zone. But in that process, we also identified base metal targets. And this Vine property, which actually, if I go back one slide, back one slide there, right down in this area here is where the Vine occurrence is. I'll show this. Now this upper map up here just shows that the Sullivan Mine is sitting in a basin that is a graben where you get these types of deposits forming. Where our properties are located, the Fours and the Vine, are in the southern end of that basin. This is Dr. Trigg Hoy that's come up with this, and we focused on that. Now traditionally, the middle slide shows traditionally what everyone thought a Sullivan-type deposit would form like. You have a fault that brings fluids up, exhales massive sulfide, this gray zone on the ocean floor, or else it actually replaces the rock below the ocean floor with sulfides. That's what everyone used as a model to explore for. In our exploration that we've done recently, we've come to realize that actually on our Vine property, it's not flat lying like this. Actually, the rocks have been pushed into this fault and the sulfides have been dragged down the fault, and it looks more like this. This is the Broken Hill deposit in Australia. The black are the massive sulfides. They're folded, metamorphosed along a major shear zone. So once it was flat, now it's like that. That creates opportunity for us because no one's ever seen that before. Sullivan was like 149, 160 million tons. Broken Hill, 280 million tons. So there's a lot of opportunity here. This is our Vine property. You can see it here. Down here is what we have. That's where the Vine vein is. But we've identified this big gravity anomaly here called the east one and the west one. All right? Just for infrastructure, this is the town of Cranbrook. This is Highway 3. Comes right through our property. The black line is the rail that took the concentrate from the Sullivan mine through our property and to the Trail smelter. This is a railroad yard of CPRs. This is a power line. This is a power line. So it's great infrastructure. We're located in a mining-friendly community. And this is a picture of our Vine facility, core facility with all the core that was there. The Vine vein right here is what Kamenko discovered in 1976. The geologist that discovered this for Kamenko is the same geologist working for us today. He discovered the Vine deposit for Kamenko, or the Vine vein, also the Forres deposit. But you can see in the background, there's the snow. This was February 2015. We can explore year-round here. Here, you're looking at two big red masses. The Vine vein is right here, and that's where that core facility is. When we got this property and consolidated all the ground around it, we then came in with a gravity survey, because massive sulfide, like the Sullivan, is very dense. And so what we've done is we've identified these two big targets, and we think those are the massive sulfide. We can see sulfides in this, the zinc mineralization right here. And what we've done is we've done a magnetotelluric survey. This magnetotelluric survey has identified a large conductive anomaly. It's 800 meters long on strike, and starts around 600 meters deep and goes down over 2 kilometers. We just announced last week that processing of our mag data shows there's a magnetic feature. You put this together, and in this slide over here, you can see a cut through the MT that there's a magnetic core, or the core of the conductive body, the magnetotelluric anomaly, has a magnetic center. Massive sulfides are dense, they can be conductive, and they can be magnetic. So in essence, we have this big conductive body goes down over 2 kilometers and a shallow one. Here you can see in the gravity profile, very large gravity profile, and here's our geology. This is the phyllite zone, which would host a Broken Hill type deposit. According to the geophysicists, they can put a big mass of dense material down here and a smaller one here. And that is very similar to this, same depths. So our plan is to come in and we're going to drill shallow holes into this. We've started this weekend. We're going to test this concept, and whatever we learn from this, we'll calibrate our drilling to drill the deeper targets. And that's going to be done probably after roundup for the deeper target. Just want to touch on this one other slide. This is our Parker Copper property. This is a discovery that was made just recently. We announced in October. Our prospectors were looking for gold, and they found copper. Go figure. You know, Ivanhoe geologist has looked at this, and he said it's identical to the Kamoa deposits in the Congo. But luckily, we're in Cranbrook, BC. The next slide. These are our directors. There's myself, Linda Brennan, our CFO, James Clare, our legal counsel, Kent Pearson, PGO, worked at Noranda with me, and Joseph Del Campo, he was with Falconbridge, ran their Falcondro operations. He's a chartered accountant. We have over 120 years experience. Trigg Hoy, Dave Pegan, I've already mentioned. Trigg Hoy was with the BC Geological Survey. He's an expert on Sullivan, copper, structural mapping for gold deposits. In summary, we have here the opportunity to, we haven't even mentioned the Zinger property. We have some drill holes in that. We're going to be looking at what comes out of that big structural zone with gold. We have the DD property, or the Gold Shear property here. That has a David occurrence. According to the government, 96,000 tons of 13 grams per ton gold, only drilled to 100 meters deep, Hasn't been drilled since 1996. We just got that last year. We're going to be exploring that at depth this summer. We also have the Vine, which I said we're going to be drilling on. And then, of course, the DD property, which Teck is going to be telling us about in probably March, what their plans are. Our share capital, you can see here, we have 98.8 million shares outstanding. Warrants, 37 million. Options, 9.8 million. We have working capital of 2.2 million. No debt. The outstanding warrants are priced at 25 cents. We're currently trading at 30. We have any joy here, we're going to be bringing in that money. And then, of course, we have our options that are averaging around 22 cents. So that's also going to be in the money. So at present, we own 100% of over 50,000 hectares of good geology and favorable ground to host mineral deposits in an historical mining camp, the Sullivan Mining Camp. We have over 20 priority targets. The Vine I just showed is just one of them. So we're well financed and we're ready to make a discovery. Thank you very much.